affected across the nation in the coming days as many power plants shut down due to the closure of the West African gas pipeline from Takrady because of government's failure to honor its obligation to WAPCO.
And so from yesterday through today, until government makes payment to WAPCO, it's going to be a very, very serious situation.
Details as ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee warns of doomsday days ahead if the debt situation persists. Now, many Ghanaians express anger, frustration, and disgust as some parts of the country were plunged into darkness Tuesday evening.
What I mean, why? What did we do? Was it wrong for us giving you the power to govern over us?
We cannot build as a government and we still want to stay in power. Oh, Ghana, what have we done wrong?
This is Top Story, and as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Well, tonight, Ghana to experience hard-hitting doomsday in the coming days if government fails to honor its debt to the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO. That, according to the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Ghana's Parliament, John Jinapa. This is because the WAPCO has closed its lines that transport gas from Takrady to Tema Enclave for use by power plant there. This resulted in a shortfall of 500 megawatt on Tuesday evening. Now, as you know, Tuesday's power outage has sparked anger, frustration, and disgust among some Ghanaians. Many callers to the Super Morning Show expressed their displeasure, citing the lack of prior communication and explanation for the widespread outage. We'll hear from them and John Jinapo shortly. But first, let's take you to the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, where residents are raising concerns about the adverse impact of the power cut on their businesses. Nanabuachi Dankwa Yadom has more in this report.
Quite recently, there has been frequent power cuts across the country. Today, we took to the streets of Kumasi to ask residents what is the power situation in their area.
My experience be pa.
It's the same.
Do so na dey ha pa nti e besere Akufo-Addo ene mpanimfo.
I really do experience the power cuts. It's affecting us. They should work on it for us.
Say na how say na e dey aba na no mu be better than say umbeye dine ente ho hwe.
How we won bebre ni say omo nheda emma wo mre. Sebia say ye kan shire o sebia. Omo the time to go bia ba sebia bia Tuesday bia Wednesday bia na Thursday bia.
The unfortunate thing is that they don't give us prior notice before the light goes off. We have electrical gadgets which do get affected by the power outage. Our children are home and they need the light for their assignments.
Yes, and here na a bit too much to be aka say oh say na say the light na back crying omutum dey
omudum no be tell na ho baby no mo so ye na a hard dream well na say a uhuru ba ye de kane no e call fa ontimi kra enhye dem na ontimi so emagina ayi.
The light goes off and they turn it back on when we are far asleep. It's very worrying. We are unable to work when it goes off. Sometimes it goes off when we least expected it.
So these are the responses of residents living in Kumasi. They want government to ensure a stable electricity or give prior notice before these frequent power cuts. For Joy News, my name is Nanabuachi Dankwa Yadom. Kumasi.
Well, some callers to the Super Morning Show today expressed anger and frustration about the situation. Take a listen.
We suffered a lot. I could not iron my case dress. I have to wake up around 5 and then start looking for a French place to go and iron my
kids clothes before I take them to school. Sometimes we have to get serious in this country. Are they doing it for a fanfare, for somebody to say they are doing well or what? It's annoying.
You've borrowed so much than any other government. You've taken more than any other government in the history of our democracy. Yet, look at how poor we are. As I speak, for the last 3 days. Why? Why? What? I mean, why? What did we do? Was it wrong for us giving you the power to govern over us? Come on, this is crazy. And I think we are not angry enough because this government is taking the base of us. And it's about time.
We are in 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just asking myself, so are we going to line up on the 7th of December to give power to people again just to mess up our life for the next 4 years or what? Because I just can't believe myself getting home with all the heat in the rooms. I mean, you can't turn on the AC, you can't do virtually anything. It's really sad. And I think the government should know that it's just a matter of time to make that decision on them.
We cannot build as a government and we still want to stay in power. Oh, Ghana, what have we done wrong?
It was off 6 p.m. yesterday and it came 6 p.m. and it came this morning 6:30 p.m.
Wow.
The same thing the leaders are doing. It is red. Just say it is red and then the Ghanaians will empathize with you. But no, you come out, you lie, do CSC, do whatever, do this. You are taking money from us. Sometimes it's frustrating, you know. I don't know. In our country, you pay for something and then you have to beg for it again. And it's very sad. Sometimes I just give up on Ghana because the leaders are not showing the way. So how can we be your subject? What are we going to do?
Well, tough times for some Ghanaians there. We can now listen to the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapo, who fears a load shedding exercise is imminent. He spoke to my colleague, Emefa Apawu.
I can confirm to you that indeed the West African gas pipeline has been shut. And it's been shut because of non-payment for gas supply through the pipeline. This has therefore resulted in about 115 standard cubic feet of gas stranded, and the Eastern Enclave, which is Tema, is not able to get gas. And so based on the 115 scarf, gas is stranded in the west. Sen Power has been shut down. Senate is down. Asogli has been limited to 165 megawatts instead of the 530. AXA, which is also available, is limited to 16 megawatts. And so clearly, yesterday night, there was a massive load shedding of about 500 megawatts. Today, off-peak, they are shedding about 300 megawatts. And this evening, they will be shedding another 500 megawatts. And so, before yesterday, there were challenges, but those challenges were not as massive and serious as yesterday. And so, from yesterday through today, until government makes payment to WACPO, it's going to be a very, very serious situation. And the load shedding is going to be widespread.
Mr. Jinapo, how long has the shutdown been, you say?
The main shutdown, which caused this massive load shedding, was yesterday.
Okay.
And so what people have been experiencing is just a minor one. The major one started yesterday.
And what then will be the difficulty in making this payment if it's not obvious?
It's money. It's money. You recall that this pipeline was shut down because of about $30 million. Government made payment of $6 million and agreed on a roadmap with the West African Gas Pipeline Company. Government has failed to make do its part of the bargain. WAPCO has sent several reminders to government, but government has failed to honor the debt payment obligation. And so yesterday they were compelled to curtail the supply of gas. And so this is avoidable. This is not an emergency situation. The Minister of Finance has been prompted. They are aware, and if they had paid the money, this unfortunate situation would have been curtailed.
So that's John Jinapo, who is ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. So let's share with you what our sources have been telling us. Kwesi Aveji is with our energy desk and he joins me in studio with some details. So how big is this issue at hand?
Yes, Kojo, 500 megawatts of energy being shared is quite a huge one. Now, to better understand this properly, we know that the Ashanti region consumes about 300 plus megawatt per at peak hours. The Volta region, for instance, demands some 80 to 100 megawatt, and then the central region also uses about 100 megawatts per at its peak. So the 500 megawatts that is being shared off now would actually means that power being cut from both the Ashanti region, the Volta region, and the central region all put together. That's the magnitude of power we are talking about. And we also told from our sources that the VRA was expected to also shed some 700 megawatt of power. That would have been like taking power off the entire Ashanti region, the western region, and central region, all of that put together. We understand that from our sources within the power sector that as a mitigation measure has been put in place yesterday in order to mitigate some of these things. We know that we export power to some neighboring countries, and so a decision has been taken on that to cut off some 50 megawatt power to the Ivory Coast. Togo and Benin would also experience some 100 megawatt cut off, and then 50 megawatt would also be cut from export to the Burkina Faso.
So these are what we're taking off yesterday. So to ensure that we don't shed off 700.
700 from the VRN. And so those were the decisions that were taken to mitigate the situation as at yesterday.
Now we also gather that the situation goes far beyond just WAPCO cutting off or shutting down their line from Takrady.
Exactly, Kojo. So the situation goes beyond WAPCO, as you say, because we understand that, for instance, in Takrady 1, also known as the TAPCO, which produces some 330 megawatt power, is currently shut down, as they say, for maintenance purposes. Now, that maintenance hasn't commenced yet because they are waiting for the spare part to be brought into the country before that happens. And until that maintenance is commenced and completed, we are shortened by some 330 megawatts of power. Now, the second one, which is the Tico plant, has also one of its steam turbines have been shut down as we speak. That produces some 110 megawatts of power. And Akosombo, for instance, also one of their turbines is shut down now as we speak from our sources. That also produces some 170 megawatt of power. So aside, WAPCO, as you say, if we put both Tico and TAPCO as well as Akosombo together, what it means is that we have a shortfall of about 580 megawatt of power that has been cut off as we speak. Again, this is the power needed, for two big regions, the Ashanti and the Western region, just for a better understanding of what that means. And so 600 megawatts of power during peak hours is what we don't have now. And so there's a lot confronting the power sector as we understand from our sources. So this is what all of this looks like in the sector.
Okay, so trying to bring the issue home so that we will all appreciate the issue as well. That when we are losing around 580 megawatt of power, it means that it's like you're taking away power
from
that is needed
three big regions.
Yes, all
three
of these
big regions,
you know.
both Ashanti,
Volta,
Western, the 580 will comprise Ashanti, Western, and then the central region.
Okay.
The initial would include Volta, Ashanti, as well as the Greater Accra region, all put together. So that's the magnitude of issue we are talking about.
That's a huge one. Well, let's bring in an energy analyst, Kojo Nsafwa-Poku, into this discussion. Grateful to you for joining us, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. We also have Benjamin Boachi, who is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy. He is joining us via Zoom. Thank you for joining us, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Let me start with you, Mr. Poku. Are we in doomsday yet? And what could possibly explain why ECG has not put out a timetable yet?
My brother, you see, some of these things, we tend to stretch the magnitude of what's happening. I think your gentleman you spoke to bundle of issues together. Ongoing maintenance always happens. That is why in the sector there's something called your spin capacity, which is your excess capacity that is used to mitigate some of these work that goes on. Currently, if you look at the total installed capacity that we have as a nation, it's about 5,138 megawatts thereabout. What we use currently is about 4,200. There is a lot of room in terms of what you need for your shutdowns of what your gentleman did. The breakdown he did about TAPCO being down, TICO, and also maybe one turbine at Akosombo being refurbished. There is room for those shutdowns. That will not send us into the situation where clearly the situation at hand is WAPCO closing their pipeline. That happened yesterday, but the explanation to that is not that WAPCO is not being paid any money. As at before the holidays, WAPCO was paid for 40 million Ghana cedis, which was equivalent of $3.25 million. With the problem that WAPCO is having, the problem that WAPCO is having is trying to find the management of GMPC to sit with them to talk about the legacy. There is a debt that exists which needs to be resolved. Unfortunately, the managing director of GMPC is hardly ever on his feet. And that is one of the frustrating things that some of us are having in the sector. We've been basically advocating that government should let the cash waterfall pay WAPCO directly instead of the money going through GMPC. Because the problem and the frustration WAPCO has is the non-communication from GMPC. So a lot of effort is being put in place to mitigate that thing where going forward, if the powers that be do listen to the advice that some of us are given, is that we should let the cash waterfall pay WAPCO directly.
Well, last year when this happened, government entered into an agreement with WAPCO. They pay some $6 million out of the debt.
See, when you say government, it is GMPC that owes. Because it's a legacy debt and GMPC is a government institution, that is where Ministry of Finance comes in.
I agree, but GMPC paid that $6 million. Well, GMPC paid that $6 million. They were supposed to honor. Well, Mr. Poku, there were some arrangement agreed between the parties. One, of course,
yes, but that is what I'm saying. That please, can I finish? That's what I'm trying to tell you. That it's unfortunate that we are where we are now, because from me speaking to WAPCO, I've spoken to WAPCO today. Okay, their frustration is that there is non-communication. If you agree to terms with somebody, there need to be follow-ups. Okay. Now, the current bills are being paid. Like I said, just before Christmas, they were paid 40 million Ghana cedis, which is $3.25 million. What WAPCO's frustration is the legacy debt, which GMPC is not forthcoming in giving a roadmap on that.
Okay.
So let's not create the impression that we are in some dire problem. By close of today, with the meetings that have been had from morning and this afternoon, by close of today, WAPCO would have released the gas in the pipeline for powers to be restored. Okay. But what the government is trying to look at is a long-term solution where either the Ministry of Finance will pay WAPCO directly without having it to go to GMPC, or the cash waterfall will pay WAPCO directly without having to go through GMPC.
That's fine. Let me bring in Benjamin Boache here. Ben, what's your own reading of the situation at hand?
Yeah, Kojo, I think it's the same thing, and Kojo is right. It's basically the curtailment of supply of gas from the West, which has caused the problem. But I just want to put on record that, these payment issues with WAPCO, government promised to put up that roadmap in October for those payments to be made. It's just that we have not been serious to actually put that roadmap together. What we have to pay WAPCO has to come from ECG. And GMPC can only pay when they have received money to be able to pay them. All right. So if the cash waterfall mechanism is not giving GMPC the money for them to be able to pay to WAPCO, it's not going to happen. I've seen letters and communications and exchanges from GMPC and WAPCO, which suggested that in December, WAPCO gave us the warning that if we do not pay by 8th of January this year, they're going to suspend transmission of gas. And GMPC responded to that, indicating that they work with ECG to be able to raise the money to be able to pay them. That hasn't happened. All right. So essentially what it means is that we are not raising enough money to be able to pay WAPCO. And it's not only outstanding balances, it is also recurring accumulation, because every month we're supposed to pay WAPCO about $7 million. All right. So if you go once in a while and put in $2 million or $1.5 million, it's not going to cut it. You need to have a proper arrangement that allows payments to be made to them. And that's what we have failed to do, for which reason the curtailment actually happened. And today, the balance has actually grown to $24 million.
But someone will be, put that. I mean, people will ask, we've always been around this whole finance issue. Why are we not able to get it right in terms of getting the needed resources, financial wise, to deal with the issues that we have with these, WAPCO and the other IPPs?
Because we are doing politics and not business. Power is business. All right. We need to get people to be doing the business side of things and isolate it from the politics. But in our country, the politics is always ahead of the business. And that is what is actually happening. And we've been crying about these things for the past decade, about how the energy sector ought to be managed so that power, sold can be recovered in revenues, and everybody along the value chain is paid for it. Right? But you always have politicians promising to keep light on, promising to bring power generation systems, promising to invest in transmission. When power is sold and is supposed to be recovered and invest in the power sector, and also guarantee that those who are putting their money in the sector would actually get their money back. Government has intervened and participated in that space to the extent that people can even consume power for free. And because it is government, they don't care whether they'll pay or not. And we are not collecting enough revenue. The last time I checked, the under recoveries are above 70% now. So what it means is that when power has been generated and sold, 70% of the money cannot be gotten back. So government has to raise money from the budget to be able to offset that difference. And it's escalating by the day.
But that's disturbing. How do we correct that? We cannot go on, under collecting 70% of the power we produce. That's just too much. How do we deal with it?
We have to go back to the roadmap that we set up in 2014, which we all agreed that we need to, allow ECG to be controlled by the private sector so that government can regulate it. Because government is a regulator through PURC. So if you have the private sector participating in that space, then government is able to regulate it. Today, PURC cannot do anything to ECG for whatever happens. All right. So the mess continues, the under recovery continues, the debt accumulation continues, and we are always in that same situation and nothing is being done. We need to fix that and make sure that we treat the power sector as business so that they can be properly regulated by the government and ensure that the public funds are not, utilized to pay people's electricity bill.
So something like a return to PDS of a kind?
Not a return to PDS, a return to private sector, properly structured private sector participation that is transparently awarded, not like the PDS arrangement. But we need to have a much more robust and transparent arrangement that welcomes genuine capital to actually invest in the power sector.
Okay. Mr. Poku, let me bring you in here. What's your own proposal to government to government as to how we can deal with this issue of having financial issues to deal with or to pay for power consumed?
Well, myself and Ben have been pushing for this, and we were one of the few people that fought for the right thing to be done when they were negotiating these PDS agreements and stuff like that, and we work hard on it. And as Ben rightfully said, it is the business side of the distribution and transmission that is creating the technical losses and the financial losses. You know, when you were doing your interviews with people, they were saying that, oh, we pay for power, we pay for power. Look, until recently, we were not doing full cost recovery for electricity. It's only recently that PULC actually used the right statistics to basically do full cost recovery. But the legacy debt is what everybody needs to talk about. It's already there. I've always said that as a country, if we don't pay for electricity in tariffs, we'll pay for it in taxes. Because the government does not do magic and conjure money. It is a closed loop. So, like we have all been saying, the private sector participation is the best way to go because the commercial losses is about 19%. If you are able to now run ECG as a business where you are basically closing all the loopholes and basically the ECG workers are doing the revenue mobilization, and we should give due to our brother Dubek, who has recently been going on a lot of revenue mobilization ventures that he's collecting money, but it's not enough. Okay, ECG has a lot of loopholes that still need to be closed. But again, when the public is crying that the government is not doing enough, when you go down to the root cause of the problem, it is really not the full recovery that the government in the past has been said, politics of not charging what we need to charge. Okay, so we are all as citizens have been part of the problem. Okay. I mean, we've not paid what we're supposed to pay in the past. It's catching up with us. The right way forward is it that we can pile it on soon. It will be difficult in this hard time to get Ghanaians to pay more. Okay. But the right thing to do is for government to find ways to raise money. And how do we raise that money? In taxes. Because nobody can bring the money from outside. So, like I'm saying, the current situation is being dealt with, okay? By the close of today, that pipeline will be restored because there's a lot of high-level intervention going on. Okay. And going forward, I think that what the government will do is to look at a proper roadmap, taking it from PMPC and being dealt with at either Ministry of Finance or ECG level.
Okay. You made mention of, taxation. Now, we have cited a letter from the Finance Ministry on the implementation of value-added tax on the supply of electricity above the lifeline for residential purposes. I want to read a bit of it. Hold on for me so you can come in. Avaji, what does the letter say?
Yes, so it's actually saying that the implementation of government's medium-term revenue strategy and IMF-supported post-COVID-19 program for economic growth, through that the are going to charge some VAT for residential customers for electricity above the maximum consumption level specified for block charges for lifeline units in line with the quoted section there. And they are expecting both the ECG and NEDCO to liaise with the GRA to ensure that this is implemented effective January 1, 2024. And all of these taxes, when collected, are supposed to be returned to government through the GRA, not to be kept by the two-part distributors.
Okay, interesting. Mr. Poku, is this what you were talking about? If you can do this for me, 30 seconds.
But for this particular letter, it's been, for me, my checks, it tells me that it's been stepped down and it hasn't been implemented. Because, look, we have to, as much as some of us are trying for more money to be raised to fix ECG and to fix the sector, we cannot also pile on some of these taxes beginning of the year when we are all coming out of the festive season and a lot of taxes are taking effect from 1st of January.
Okay.
I think the powers that be have agreed to step this down for the time being because it takes a lot of sensitization. Even the ECG software needs to be updated in the way they calculate the non-lifeline for the residential. So it's not going to be implemented immediately. There's a lot of consultation going to go on before it is implemented. But we can all agree that when we need money to fix something, it would have to come from tariffs of taxes.
Okay. All right.
But for me, I think the timing is wrong. It's a wrong time to introduce more VAT on electricity at this stage.
Okay, thank you. Ben, what do you also make of this tax?
No, okay, I also saw it just today, and I thought, the same way, that it was not going to generate more revenue. What we've seen and trended over the period is that the more you adjust the tariff, the more people evade it. Because we don't have the systems, we haven't built a much more robust system in ECG that allows, tariff to be collected. So the leakages deepens with these introductions. So when I saw it, I thought, I mean, again, we're going to lose more revenue by trying to pile up more on the bill rather than collecting from those who are not paying and blocking the leakages.
All right.
So if it's been stepped down, it is the right direction.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen. Kojo Poko is an energy analyst, and Ben Boache is the executive director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP. This has been Top Story. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is Newsnight with Emefa Apawu.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. This is Newsnight. In this edition, tonight, Labour unrest looms as leadership of UTAG and TUTAG stage a walkout at a meeting with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, citing bad faith and lack of commitment by government to improve aspects of their conditions of service.
Government has not been fair to us as far as these negotiations are concerned, and to ensure that we get government to be serious and committed toward the process, there's a need for us to stage a walkout.
We're on the Labour front tonight also. Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating the IGP leak tape has more investigations to do as they prepare to launch an inquest to find persons behind a draft report in circulation purporting to be its findings which exonerates the IGP and recommends prosecution of the three top officers.
So we should do that, because this is like trying to force a false report on the committee.
You have any suspicions as to who could be behind it?
I'm professional enough to keep quiet at this point in time. It should be investigated.
But COP Alexander Mensah, one of the men at the center of this controversy, says he suspects the fake draft report in circulation is a deliberate attempt to frustrate his political career.
My suspicion is that somebody is behind it. Somebody who is trying to frustrate my efforts to become the member of parliament for Santibepa. He is the person who is doing that.
And much later, meeting between chiefs and the Brekum Municipal Security Council to resolve tensions rising from the order for a goat farmer to leave the area ends inconclusively as the Kontihene of Brekum asks for time to take a final decision on the age-old custom which forbids the rearing of goats in the community.
I don't know whoever gave him that order, because we haven't met on it at the traditional council level, and that place happens to be the highest decision body for the traditional council.
And in business, continuous decline in prices of some foodstuffs slows inflation rate for December to 23.3%.
And in sports, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo wants the Black Stars to break the 42-year AFCON title jinx in Ivory Coast.
We have details of that and more here on Newsnight. You want to stay with us with your thoughts and your comments as well. Is via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. We're live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. We're on myjoyonline.com. You can send us messages with the hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu. Details after this break.
Of late, things no easy, crowd. For my business inside, pressure day from customers. If I make payments, give suppliers, Okada riders, delivery charges, it no easy. Things no they move fast like before because everything make expensive. The family where they house, see what I they talk. Family where they call, they ask for another money. It no easy. Vodafone Cash be the only thing where they make my ID get to. If I they do transfers for Vodafone Cash, it they save me money. If you they do Vodafone Cash to Vodafone Cash transactions, still no transfer charges dey. Even if I they send money to another network, I they get value.
Make you dial *110# to send money. Sending money from Vodafone Cash to Vodafone Cash still be free.
Vodafone. Ready? Let's go. We all go bring some savannah.
Everyone is dancing, everyone is singing, because everyone is painting with Savannah. Savannah paints from Azar are affordable enough for everybody to fulfill their paint needs. Paint more, pay less. Savannah paint, we all go paint some.
We all go paint some, Savannah. We all go paint some.
Illegal mining continues to destroy our lands and waters.
We are getting some cases of young people whereby they come with difficulty in breathing and cough. We find that they have extensive damage to their lungs. They tend to be people who come from communities that are involved in illegal mining.
From January 12th, we continue the fight against illegal mining in our communities. It's the Poisoned for Gold Community Tour. Join Erastus Asaredonko as we engage the people of Samreboy about the dangers of illegal mining. The Poisoned for Gold Community Tour is part of the USAGM Media Project on Nature Crimes in Ghana, supported by the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Oceans and International Environment and Scientific Affairs, Office of Conservation and Water. The tour is in collaboration with the Multimedia Group. Media partners: Joy News, Adum TV, Joy FM, Love FM, Inshira FM, Ahobrasia FM, Tricky FM, Asuna FM, Royal FM, Velvet Beam Radio, Max FM, Green Gold Radio and TV.
Welcome to a thrilling season of football live on Star Times. The best of Africa will converge in Ivory Coast from the 13th of January.
Witness the most anticipated tournament in African football, where Ghana could end a 42-year trophy drought, and Egypt with an 80% chance of winning their 8th AFCON title. The Teranga Lions of Senegal look like defending their title. The AFCON is here, with all 52 matches delivered in stunning HD on Star Times. It's an incredible new year upgrade to the Star Times Mega Bouquet for only 180 Ghana cedis.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's digging now, and we start off from the Labour Front. And the leadership of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, and the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana, TUTAG, today staged a walkout of a meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission over aspects of their conditions of service. Well, the unions say government has shown lack of commitment and bad faith to see to their demands on market premium and other allowances. Speaking to Joy News, the General Secretary of TUTAG, Dr. Zakaria Abubakar, warned that they will be compelled to withdraw their services if government does not change its posture with regard to their negotiations.
Yes, we know we have been negotiating since last year. I think the first negotiation for this year is what we were having today. But it appears we are not making any significant progress. And we think government has not been fair to us as far as these negotiations are concerned, and to ensure that we get government to be serious and committed toward the process, there's a need for us to stage a walkout.
But what triggered the walkout?
Yes, there are various items on the table under consideration, including our market premium, that is the interim market premium, and some other allowances. But it appears we are not making any progress on these outstanding issues, including the interim market premium.
If this doesn't happen, then what's the way forward?
It's obvious, government has always understood one language, and most of the progress we have made over the years, we made those progress after we have embarked on industrial action. And so we will not hesitate at all to embark on industrial action to press home our demands for review of these allowances that have been outstanding over the years.
That's the General Secretary of TUTAG, Dr. Zakaria Abubakar. Thankfully, we also have the President of UTAG joining us via phone, Professor Mamudu Akodo. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So what really is the backstory that led to this particular walkout we witnessed today? Unfortunately, we've just lost Professor Mahmood Akudu there on the line, but would work the lines and raise him back so we get details from this particular meeting, because we've been hearing from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Ben Arthur will also be joining as the Chief Executive of the Commission on this. Already, there've been talk about how surprising they find the action of TUTAG and UTAG from that meeting today. We'll also get to hear from a Labour analyst on all this, because already we've been hearing from TUTAG mention that they are warning that they will be compelled to withdraw their services if government does not change its posture with regard to the ongoing negotiations. They have concerns about government not ceding to some of the concerns that they've raised. We work the lines again, and Professor Mahmood Akudu joins us back on the line. We are grateful for your time. Professor Akudu, can you hear me? Good evening. Okay, Professor Akudu's line will just not allow us to have that conversation, but definitely we'll rectify that and bring him to you shortly and hear that backstory, what exactly happened and what their demands are. We know that the walkout was between a meeting with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, UTAG, and then TUTAG is over their conditions of service, and the unions say that government already has shown some lack of commitment and bad faith to cede to their demands on market premium and other allowances. And that's how the year has already begun when it comes to concerns on the labour front. Earlier today also there were a system that was introduced to stop the issues about ghost names amongst others on the labour front. So there's a lot happening on the labour front tonight, and hopefully when we get the Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Ben Arthur, also joining us, we'll get to hear the side of the employers and what exactly has happened in that regard. But one other issue that's making the rounds and generating a lot of talk today has been a draft report in circulation as we speak, purporting to emanate from the Parliament's ad hoc committee. You know, that committee that was put together to launch investigations into the leaked IGP tape and the plot to remove Dr. George Akufu-Dampare. Well, we've been hearing from the chairman of that ad hoc committee tonight, Samuel Atachia. He's been telling us that report is not from his committee, and already asking for an investigation to be launched to find persons behind that draft report in circulation, purporting that its findings has actually exonerated Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, and also asking for the prosecution of the 3 officers involved. You can listen to that conversation I had with him on Midday.
This is not the handiwork of the committee. The members of the committee are waiting for the clerk to tease out a report for our consideration. And it's very distasteful that anybody is bandying this about, that this is a report of the committee. A report of a committee will be signed by the chairman and the clerk.
From what you've done so far in terms of the work, the last we spoke, you mentioned that you're going to present that report to Parliament amongst others. Did you recommend the prosecution of the 3 senior officers involved in the alleged plot?
And the fact that truth be told, we've not come to that point. What has happened is that you need to have a draft of the committee's report from the expert called the clerk. And then the clerk will bring it to members of the committee. We look at it. And then if it represents what we really want to assert as the position of the committee, we will say so. And then we'll also proffer our recommendations. That's what will happen. The recommendations will come from the members of the committee. If there's any opinion or position by the clerks, we look at it, but it's not binding on us.
But it's surprising also that from this report or the draft report we're seeing, it appears that your committee or whatever we're seeing in there seeks to vindicate the IGP and indict the 3 high-ranking police officers. You're saying you haven't reached that level at all. Where exactly are you then? Where exactly are you then?
Sorry?
Where exactly are you then with the work you've done so far?
That is what I said a minute ago. That is work in progress. The clerk is supposed to bring it to us, the members of the committee. And then the members of the committee will look at the draft document. And then we will verify if that is where we want to go as a committee. And it's a fair representation of what transpired. And the conclusions are logical and reasonable, given the evidence adduced. And then we will put together a report that I will sign, and then the clerk will sign as well.
What then will be your suspicion of this particular draft document that is in circulation?
Well, Well, I don't know whether somebody wants to steal the show, but it's in contempt of Parliament. You see, because this is an unfair free judgment of what we are about to come to. And somebody is trying to force a report on a committee of Parliament. Very distasteful.
And reading the findings in this particular report, you're saying is nothing close to anything that your committee has done so far.
I keep saying to you that some people have been trained to put together a report for the consideration of the committee. Those people are the clerks. so if somebody should improvise anything and put it in the public domain, that is his problem. But every member of the committee who is very, very, very true to his own name will say that we said the clerk should put together a report which we will use for plenary, and that draft report, we will all sit and look at it. You have about 3 lawyers on the committee. You all read the report. And that should reflect the thinking of the entire committee, even if there is any dissenting opposed positions, well, to be captured in the report that some people dissented.
Would you recommend an investigation into this particular
I believe so. We should do that, because this is like trying to force a false report on the committee.
You have any suspicions as to who could be behind it? You have any suspicions as to who could be behind it?
Well, I'm professional enough to keep quiet at this point in time. It should be investigated.
When exactly are we going to get this report so that all the speculations will be laid to rest, you'd say?
You know, we're very, very buried in the budget approval. And every member of the committee was sitting on one committee or the other. So we couldn't congregate and finish the work. But I do not think it will travel too long, and we will be able to conclude the matter.
Well, and that's the chairman of Parliament's ad hoc committee, Samuel Atachia, there interacting with me earlier on the midday news. Thankfully, we've also been hearing from lawyers for Chief Superintendent George Asare, but thankfully we've been joined on the phone by COP Alexander Mensah, one of the men at the center of this particular investigation by the ad hoc committee. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. Now, I'm sure that listening to the chairman of the Parliament ad hoc committee, Samuel Atachia, mentioning that this particular draft report in circulation is not emanating from the committee, that must be very assuring for you, since you saw that draft report, isn't it?
Hello?
Good evening, COP.
Yeah, good evening.
I'm saying that listening to Samuel Atachia mention that this particular draft report is not emanating from his committee must be very assuring for you.
Yes, I knew that report was a fake report. I knew it.
What made you so sure?
I knew what actually happened at the committee. So when I saw the report, after reading, I saw that it cannot be a report of the committee. And luckily for me, the chairman has come to verify that what has been brought out is not from the committee.
But what came to mind when you first saw the details of that report? You say it was fake, but what were your suspicions, you'd say?
It's just one. Somebody just want to disturb Commissioner George Alex Mensah retired. So what he is trying to do. Somebody wants to spoil my political career. Somebody who has the intention to destroy me wants to come and destroy me at this particular time when we are going for our promise. But God being so good, it's not going to work.
How is it not going to work when we've not seen the final report from the committee? Are you
because the chairman come to say that this report is fake. It's not from the committee.
But this might be fake, but is it the hope that, or you are very confident that you'll be vindicated by the committee's report? Is that
I am very, very, very confident.
What makes you so confident?
Because I know what happened.
We didn't get the full picture, at least. Others were in camera amongst others. But
yeah, there was in camera, but I was present. So I knew what happened.
So at the end of the day, when that committee's report that we are all waiting for comes out, it is the hope that COP Alexander Mensah will be vindicated by the committee.
Exactly.
You will not be prosecuted, or there will be no recommendations for your prosecution, you'd say?
Not at all. COP George Alex Mensah did not go there to commit any crime.
But since you were discharged by the committee, let me find out if you've been engaged again by the committee to a large extent, because they are still putting together their reports, they say, at least from what we've heard. Have you been engaged again? What has been the discussion between yourself and the committee at that level? Okay, well, we see how it goes, and we are waiting for the final report from the committee. But at least you are assured that from what we've seen and heard so far, you'll be vindicated at the end of it all.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm happy that the chairman has come out to say that that report is not from the committee. So whoever masterminded this fake report to destroy COP George Alex Mensah has been disgraced.
Who could that person be?
He knows himself.
But we don't.
He knows himself. Whoever is trying to destroy me has been disgraced.
It looks like you have your eyes on someone in particular.
I have my eyes on someone, but I'm going to mention his name. And he knows himself.
Okay. COP, we are grateful for your time. And that's COP Alexander Mensah, retired there, interacting with us. We also interacted with lawyer for Chief Superintendent George Asare, Alfred Papadakwa. Listen.
I'll be surprised if it is coming from the committee. Not because it indicts my client, not at all, but because of how porous it is and the fact that it contains so many speculative analysis. Clearly, when you go through, you see that the conclusions are very, very dogmatic. And I do not think a committee of such a nature, looking at the caliber of people on that committee, would write something like of that sort. No, you see, I also do not think anybody who has critically involved himself with the works of this committee will conclude. I mean, the sort of conclusion that the committee, this so-called draft report has brought. I do not think anybody who has critically gone through the proceedings will come to that conclusion. You understand? So it is some people's wishes that they are hoping would be confirmed by the committee. I do not think that the committee will bring such a report. No.
Well, so that's a lawyer for COP, George Asare there, speaking to us, speaking to my colleague Imbura earlier on their reaction. But it looks like they are all assured now and very satisfied that the chairman of the Parliament ad hoc committee has actually come out to debunk the claims about this particular draft report in circulation. Whilst we await for the final report of the Parliament ad hoc committee, it remains to be seen who will be vindicated and who will be implicated by that particular committee's report. We'll go back to the Labour front now, and thankfully we've been joined on the phone by the General Secretary of TUTAG, Dr. Zakaria Abubakar. We've been telling you about how TUTAG and UTAG members and leadership walked out of a meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission over aspects of their conditions of service. And Dr. Zakaria joins us on the line. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsline, Dr. Zakaria Abubakar. So I'm really curious about the backstory that will lead TUTAG and UTAG all together to walk out of a meeting with your employers.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to your listeners. Hello.
Dr. Zakaria, we could hear you loud and clear.
Yes, we have been engaging government since the last half of last year. But it appears we are not making enough progress on the issues that have been tabled far. We feel that government has not demonstrated enough commitment towards the process. And so the need for us to walk out of the negotiations to really push government to come clean on some of the issues that have been tabled so far.
But really, I'm sure you had some demands on the table. Is it the case that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, your employers for that matter, were not ready to meet you halfway, or what exactly could have led to that? Is it that they are not ready to listen to TUTAG and UTAG at all, or is that your demands are too high for the employers to meet?
Not really. We are not being unreasonable demands. We're talking about expired conditions of service. Some of them have been absolute since 2012. Example is a market premium, which has been absolute since 2012, and which we expect government to really review. But it appears that government has over the months been referring us to a certain white paper or market premium, in which government says that market premium is not an item that is subject to negotiation. Government can only review as and when they dictate, which we think is not fair, because you cannot be on the same premium for over 10 years as I speak.
But walking out of that particular meeting, does it not mean forfeiture of your rights to negotiation with your employers?
For how long? For how long can we continue to sit in these meetings? Don't forget that we are university lecturers. Almost all the universities have reopened, and we need to be in the classroom. We need to conduct research. We need to do community service and other duties. We cannot waste all our time on negotiation.
Then what happens going forward then? Because you can't keep on meeting. What's next then?
We have actually indicated to government that until they show serious commitment towards the process, we are not coming back to the negotiation table.
And this walkout happened earlier today. After this notice you served to government, have we heard from your employers? Have you heard from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as to whether they've softened their stance or their position on the claims that you made earlier?
Not yet. I think originally we were scheduled to have a meeting today and tomorrow. We are still around until tomorrow, and if we hear from them and if it is positive, perhaps we can arrange meeting with them again. But until then, we are holding on.
So what really would you want to hear exactly before you go back to the negotiation table or any meeting for that matter with your employers?
Just as I indicated, you cannot continue to refer us to a certain white paper issued by government on market premium, for instance. You understand? We have historical antecedents to many of these allowances that we're talking about. And the market premium the expired market premium that we are enjoying at the moment was duly negotiated for and signed as far back as in 2012. But today, the employer represented by Fair Wages is quoting portions of a certain white paper that market premium is not subject to negotiation until we hear from them that, okay, we can go ahead to negotiate towards the review of your market premium. We are out of the negotiation.
Okay, so once you hear that they've softened their stance on that, tomorrow's meeting will happen?
Yes, it indicates to us that they are ready to negotiate. We are also ready. After all, we all want the best for this country, and we are not trying to, if you like, jeopardize our education, especially tertiary or higher education.
Okay. We are grateful, Dr. Zakaria, and we are looking out for a fruitful discussion and then meetings later on so that we'll not see some agitations on the labour front. But labour expert Austin Game, thankfully, joins us on the line as well for his thought briefly on this particular matter. Mr. Game, I'm sure you've been monitoring this particular positions held by UTAG on one side and the employers on that side. It looks like currently entrenched on aspects of conditions of service for these unions. Going forward, how are you hoping that you'll be able to deal with this situation such that there will be a headway or a way forward for that matter?
Thank you. I think that listening to my friend from the UTAG side, it does appear they've come to the end of the road, and the onus now lies on the employer to invite them to another round of meeting and to show commitment. The labor law enjoins both parties. Our labor law is not a theoretical type of labor law. It is intended to assist in practice. And it's very clear that you have to negotiate in good faith. And good faith negotiation is about inclusion. It's about ensuring that there's high level of inclusion, in the process. So it's entirely in the hands of the employer now to show commitment by inviting them back to the table. Once they initiate, the invitation, they'll be more than willing to come. And this time around, what it will mean is that they have to lay the cards on the table transparently, as the case may be. Once they do that within the confines of the law, all will be well for them. Otherwise, when they take a unilateral decision, as we normally want to describe it, it may not what the organ went for everybody.
But is the employee not making it difficult for negotiations to continue if they walk out on the employer during negotiation?
It's equally unfair. That's why both parties will have to have cardinal rules that will guide their conversation. Negotiation has moved from the traditional adversarial process to a more of a conversational and collaborative effort. It's both game approach. So it is for the parties to understand the industrial relations environment and fit themselves in. Otherwise, they will be, not that they don't know, they may know, the skills differ from people to people. So what are the cardinal rules governing the procedure of this negotiation? If you take a closer look at it, both parties might not be following it as expected of them. So I enjoin them to do their best to stay with the cardinal rules, or people call it ground rules, that govern the procedure of the negotiation as under section 1012 of the Labour Act. Once they can follow it that way, they will be able to have a solution. And if they have difficulty, they can do two things. One, look for a facilitator to assist them to be able to navigate through the muddy waters they cannot navigate themselves. Or they have to report to the National Labour Commission to assist them. These two ways.
Okay. Mr. Game, we're grateful for your input tonight here on Newsnight. But one other issue also happening on another front is the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical and Workers Union of TUC. They are demanding the removal of 3 members from the Tema Oil Refinery Board for what they describe as their ineptitude and alleged involvement in corruption. According to the Workers Union, the 3 board members, Leon Kendona Painting, Edith Sapara Grant and David Adumako, are the architects of the mess surrounding the Tor-Torrensco partnership deal. To restore credibility in the search for strategic partner for Tor, the group is calling on President Akufo-Addo to, as a matter of urgency, relieve these persons from their posts. Bernard Owusu is the chairman of the Workers Union.
For the gross demonstration of incompetence by colluding and condoning a conflict of interest and chasing after a non-existent ghost in the shadow of credible partner for almost 2 years, we plead that Mr. Leon Kendon Appington, Ms. Edith Sapara Grant, and Mr. David Adumako, the board chairman, be removed from the Tor board for lack of objectivity in decision towards the search and identification of a credible partner for Tor.
The workers, among a number of demands, are also calling for the reassignment of other workers of Tor who were complicit in the deal, which has been halted by the Special Prosecutor for Corruption Risk Assessment.
The reassignment or transfer of workers whose actions and inaction are found to be in collusion or have collaborated with the board to give Tor away to unavailable partners, to bring about industrial peace and harmony, to serve as deterrent to others. This, in our opinion, is key.
Thankfully, one of the persons mentioned in there by the Workers' Board Chairman, David Adumako, has a statement tonight, and my colleague Carlos Caloni joins us in the studio with details of it. What does it say, Carlos?
All right, Emefa. So the statement is a 3-paragraph statement released a while ago. Paragraph 1 states, I have learned of some concerns raised by one Bernard Owusu, who led a group of Tor workers to stage a protest against me and fellow board members of the refinery. Indeed, he is either misinformed or is on some agenda. Toll rehabilitation is a very difficult exercise, and in the current environment, it is extremely difficult to find prospective partners interested in taking on the quantum of financial exposure necessary to bring about a lasting solution. He goes on to say, I'm quite confident that Mr. Owusu does not represent the views of the majority of workers who have vested or a vested interest in the establishment of a sustainable solution. And the statement concludes that his motive is not clear to me, but he should understand that his misguided statements are very damaging to the prospect for finding a solution in the near term.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Carlos Caloni with details of that statement issued by David Adumarco, the board chairman of TOR, responding directly to that press conference held by the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical and Workers Union of TUC earlier today. It's time for business. George Wiafe is in the studios. Hello, George.
Hi, Emefa. We'll be telling you about inflation, which has dropped to 23.3%, and what that meant for government's end-of-year target, and also the contributing, or one of the major contributory factors. An immediate World Bank country director, Pierre Laporte, backed proposals for privatizing bills collection with the electricity company of Ghana, and how that could have impacted on its revenue. Be getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year, only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfits.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN Just For You. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique Just For You package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project or demand, choose Syntex tank. Syntex tank, stress-free. Syntex tank, reliable. Syntex tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough.
It's a century of safeguarding dreams with Enterprise Insurance.
In the spirit of our 100th anniversary, Enterprise Insurance revs it up with Yafinia Motor Promotion. One lucky winner will cruise around in a sleek brand new Nissan Kicks SUV. First and second runner-ups will jet off to Dubai for an all-expense paid escape. Renew or get your vehicle insurance between January and June 2024 and win free fuel coupons. Monthly raffle draws give you cool gadgets like laptops, Samsung phones, microwaves, gas cooker, tabletop fridge, and many more. Enterprise Insurance Yafinia Motor Promotion is on at all our branches. Call your broker or agent to buy or renew your motor insurance and make history with Ghana's oldest insurance company. Truly trusted. That's the Enterprise Advantage. Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Enterprise, your advantage.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority (DVLA) has introduced a new online vehicle registration process. That's right, you can now log on to online.gov.gh to start your new vehicle registration process at the comfort of your location. Then present your vehicle at any private vehicle test station with customs release documentation for verification and testing. Once that's done, you can visit any DVLA office for further vehicle inspection and biometric verification of the owner or authorized persons for your digital smart card. Yes, a smart card. No more paper documents, and it's that easy. Log on to online.gov.gh today and start your new vehicle registration process now. DVLA, your safety, our concern.
Central University, Ghana's leading private Christian university, has open admissions. Apply now for a degree in environmental engineering, fashion design, landscape design, interior design, business administration, economics, law, nursing, civil engineering, architecture, computer science, IT, theology, PharmD, and many others. Degrees are available on our campuses in Mutual, ICGC Christ Temple, Abosokai, and Kumasi. Also enroll in our MBA with various specializations. Scholarships are available for needy but brilliant students. Call us on 0303-318-583 or visit our website at central.edu.gh for more information. Central University, raising transformational leaders through faith, integrity, and excellence.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the continuous decline in prices of some foodstuffs again helped the inflation rate to slow to 23.3% for the month of December 2023. The development also helped government beat its revised end-of-year inflation target for last year to 31.3%. There is more in this report.
The decline in inflation rate can be linked to the drop in price of some foodstuff from November 2023 to December 2023. This development helped slow the rate of increase for food prices over the 1 month period and from December last year. Another development that can be described as interesting and contributing to this drop was due to the fact that imported inflation also dropped significantly for the month of December 2023. The data also showed that inflation rate has been on that declining path since August 2023. Food and alcoholic beverage contributed more than 50% to the December inflation rate. It was followed by housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels. Tea bags continue to post the highest price increase from December 2022 to December 2023. Eastern region has the highest rate of inflation of 51.3%. The Ghana Statistical Service data also showed that fresh fish was one of the items that recorded the highest increase in the price for the year.
And that is a business text report. Meanwhile, government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim has indicated that government must focus on driving food prices down if it wants to sustain this trend.
Given that we continue to see about 6 of the items that with significant weight have consistently appeared in the top 20 items that have recorded the highest price changes, and they being food items, one would have to begin to think about how we continue to focus more on the real sector, specifically from the food perspective. The contribution of food to overall inflation can never be understated, given the weight that we attach to food with the computation of our consumer price index. Food has a weight of 42.7% and is one out of the 13 dominant divisions, and the other 12 has a weight of 52.7%. So with a weight of 42.7%, one is always concerned about its contribution. Specifically in the month of December 2023, across the 13 divisions, food contributed 52.6% to the overall inflation for the month of December 2023.
Professor Samuel Kobnenim is government statistician. The development could also impact on the cost of credit going well as improving the real return on your investment. There's always been debate about inflation rate, but the measures past events and development. It also means that general price levels are not going down, but the rate of increase compared to the previous years are actually increasing or declining, some would say. Now, the immediate World Bank country director Fiat Laporte says he backs proposals to privatize bills collection, logistic company of Ghana, and that this has been one of the proposals that has been put forward by the country's development partners to help deal with the challenges facing the company. Mr. Laporte says the logistic company refused to adopt it, but he believes that could have helped it going forward.
I always had the view that there are, things have not gone so well here. Collection remains, underperforming. Okay, collection is not as it should be. I know our experts, I'm not an energy expert, but our experts have felt that give the collection to a private firm who can do it. There's those around the world who are experts at this. Yeah. But ECG and others sometimes felt, the model can work, but they have different views. I'll just give you an example.
Yeah. Are you satisfied that the reforms that the bank had pushed is getting results, or they are still feeling challenges in the sector?
Finally, the government shifted quite significantly in the budget.
And that is immediate World Bank country director Pierre Laporte. Now, government is seeking to raise over 5 billion Ghana cedis from the 5 new tax amendment bill that has been signed into law by a president. But looking at the current economic environment, can this target be achieved? There is more in this report, which seeks to review the application of VAT on some items and services, will bring in 3.7 million Ghana cedis by the end of next year. It is this same amendment bill that is seeking to place 21.9% VAT on non-life insurance business, which could result in motor insurance premiums going up by more than 30% from the beginning of next year. The revision of the rates on stamp duty may be the next tax item that could bring in some significant revenue to government. The Finance Ministry is seeking to raise about 653 million Ghana cedis from this tax. About 540 million Ghana cedis is expected to be secured from the excise duty bill. The Parliament has reviewed the items that should be captured under this tax. The emissions levy bill, which seeks to promote the use of eco-friendly tech and green energy, might help government mobilize 541 million Ghana cedis at the end of 2024. But for many, the biggest concern here is that will government be able to mobilize these taxes at the end of next year, looking at the current challenges facing the economy? According to the 2024 budget, government is planning to raise 176 billion Ghana cedis in taxes and grants at the end of next year. Well, there are concerns that implementing these taxes could increase the cost of living and also decline or actually affect the rate of decline inflation that we've experienced over the past month. Now, a partner at accounting advisory service firm, that is KPMG Rindolph Arnold, is asking businesses to employ technology in drafting their financial plans to improve efficiency. According to him, businesses thrive and grow an effective financial plan that guides them to expand and also grow their services. Now, speaking on Marketplace on Joy News today, Mr. Arnold said that the use of tech in preparing business financial plan is very important to aid the expansion and competitiveness.
For the little plans that you have in your mind, don't let it stay in your mind. Act on it. Do. If you don't do, it becomes just an idea. So let's move from, in this year 2024, let's move from the ideation or concept stage, all right, to implementing. Let us execute. Without execution, we will never realize the lofty ideas that we have for ourselves. So for individuals and for businesses, good plan, but make sure you are acting on those plans. Execute. That is key.
Renovano is partner at accounting and advisory services firm that is KPMG. Now, the Ghana Stock Exchange returned more than 28% to persons that invested in general stocks on the market for last year. Now, this was contained in the monthly stock report released by managers of the exchange today. Now, Ben's Oil Palm Plantation posted the highest returns in terms of an individual stock performance, those that invested in that stock. Foreign investors accounted for more than half in terms of trades on the market. However, data showed that there was some decline in terms of 10% for 2022. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you, George. Have a good evening. Let's do sports and some of your messages as well. Musbao.
Yeah,
they are in Abidjan.
Yeah, they're in Abidjan.
Beautiful Kente.
Ooh, beautiful Kente.
We won the cup already.
Well, it looks.
That Kente, we won the cup already.
Well, you haven't even played your first game yet. They're already claiming winners of the AFCON title. Well, they indeed touched down in Ivory Coast early this afternoon, and of course, the Ghana team, they were rocked in some traditional Kente upon their arrival at the airport, having left Kumasi in some white kaftans. In fact, all the 27 players, as well as the technical team, were seen in that Kente, traditional Kente, and slippers as they touched down in Abidjan. Chris Easton side, they've left Ghana in the morning after wrapping up their preparations on Tuesday with a farewell dinner. And at the dinner, the president interacted with the players, and he expressed his desire that the team will go to Ivory Coast and end the country's 42-year wait for the AFCON title.
Know very well that you have the support of Ghanaians. Go all out and make us proud. Government, with the active support of the GFA, has made all the arrangements necessary.
That's the president there. Well, the Black Stars will play their first game on Sunday against Cape Verde, and afterward they will play their next game against Egypt and play their final game against Mozambique.
Egypt is like a second game.
Yeah, Egypt was the second game, then Mozambique final game. So people have already started the permutations. There's Cape Verde win, then Egypt get a draw, then Mozambique. No. Yeah, but yeah, I mean there are a few interesting dynamics to it, because either you can place first and qualify, second and qualify, you can be among the best third place teams and qualify to the next stage of the tournament, and this coming on the back of our abysmal performance in 2021. So you can see the burden is really heavy on the Black Stars to do well over there. Well, in the, earlier in the week I spoke to you about Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana, whose situation is quite unclear now, because Manchester United requested that the player be with the team on January 13, when Manchester United will be having a game against Tottenham Hotspur, January 14 rather. Now, we understand that Cameroon agreed with Manchester United for Onana to stay, play in that game against Tottenham Hotspur on January 14, and return to and fly to Ivory Coast and play for Cameroon in their game on January 15. However, what we are picking up is that Andre Onana has decided that he will stay with Manchester United, play in that game against Tottenham Hotspur. However, will not be available for his country's first game, and that has attracted some criticism being meted out to Andre Onana for seemingly, choosing Manchester United over his national team. However, he will be with the team though in their subsequent games, except for their opening game. That's some update from the AFCON for you, Emefa, on this.
Thank you very much, Musbao. And it's happening this weekend, and you want to leave your dial right here on Joy 99.7 FM and all our platforms, bringing you updates of the AFCON. Now, there's a story that most of you are looking forward for some update, and it's in Siniase and Brekum, that issue about goats and the goats against goats rearing, amongst others. My colleague Erastus Asari Donko has been following this particular issue for us, and there was a meeting that was supposed to happen between the chiefs and the Brekum Municipal Security Council on this particular issue. Erastus has been following. He joins us on the line with details. Erastus, so what are we learning from this particular meeting?
So there was one meeting yesterday where the CEO of Sementia Farms was given an audience for him to tell the Municipal Security Council and the chiefs what his problem is. And then there was another meeting today between him and the Municipal Security Council and the chiefs. At the end of the meeting, the chiefs have requested that they also need to meet amongst themselves and announce their decision later. So that is what we are waiting for now.
Interesting. But thankfully, Erastus, we also have the CEO himself of Sementia Farm, Learning and Development Farm, Frederick Bene. Would love to hear from him as well, as Erastus also follows up on this particular issue for us. We are grateful, Frederick Bene, for joining us here on Newsnight. So really, what then happens going forward? We know that these meetings have ended inconclusively. How is the farm? What exactly is happening to your investment at this point, Frederick?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think just like the name of the farm says, it's a learning and development center. It's unfortunate that this is happening. But we want to honor tradition. We want to, respect the orders from the chiefs. I think from day one, what we've been asking for is time to be able to properly relocate. And that is still what we are working on. So the hope is that the training and learning to revolutionize the livestock industry in Ghana and Africa in general will still proceed. So with everything happening, I think there's a silver line in it, and we are hoping that the chiefs will still give us at least some time to prepare ourselves so that at least the few animals that's left, we can relocate them and continue to make an impact in the country and in the lives of the youth as well.
So it doesn't look like from all the engagements you've had with the traditional council, security council, amongst others, it doesn't look like relocation is off the table at all. By all means, you have to relocate because the goats are not happy.
I mean, you never know. We are still hopeful for both turnouts. It could be that the chiefs could give us the opportunity to continue the work that we're doing here. But personally, because people in my community have already been a victim of this, I wouldn't want to set myself different from that. So as hard and heartbreaking as it is to leave all my investment behind, I think the plan is to relocate if we are given an ample time to sort ourselves out.
Well, the question then comes up is that during your research before going into investing in goat rearing in that particular area, did it never come up that area, the goats are against goat rearing? Did it not come up? How is it that they allowed you to do it 5 years on before you're hearing that the goats are against goat rearing in the area?
So that's the question everybody have been asking. And like I always say, in every community, every town, every country, there used to be a tradition, a ritual that over the time fades away as development and as we grow as a community, as people. The rearing of goats years back was definitely prohibited in Berkum or in Snapchat. But over the years, I grew up here. I grew up having goats in this community. Dogs are prohibited, but at the moment there are dogs everywhere. So going into dogs, nobody would think that it's prohibited anymore or that would be reinstated. So everybody had goats. When I started this project 5 years ago, some of the local goats that I was using for my learning and experiments were actually from this community. I bought it from here. So this is an all of a sudden reinstatement of a tradition that has been let go for a while.
In all this, how much are you losing, you would say?
I mean, looking at the numbers, just to give you an idea of just last year, in about June, July, we decided to move from an experimental farm to a commercial farm where we started building the biggest goat pen in the whole of Africa to house about 5,000 goats. In 2 months, we actually spent almost 500,000 in that structure. That structure is not yet complete. So on a yearly basis, we're spending about 1 million Ghana cedis in this project, including the importation of pure breeds, invitation of experts in goat farming, both in health, in management, and in nutrition into the country to train my workers. Last month, I took one of my farm managers to South Africa, who went to just study about artificial insemination with goats. So we have put a lot of money into this, but yeah, that's why this is such an unfortunate situation for us.
Okay, so if you don't relocate, what would the goats do? What will happen?
That might be a question for our elders. I'm not that spiritual to what the intentions of gods are. I wouldn't know that.
Okay, Frederick, we'll leave it here. We're grateful for your time. And that's Frederick Bene, the CEO of Sementia Learning and Development Farm. And he's a man at the center of all that controversy and concerns about the goats being against the rearing of goats in that area, also Brekum. And you've been hearing from my colleague also, Iraso Sasaridonko, that has been following this particular meeting between the chiefs of Brekum Municipal Security Council, amongst others. What exactly the goats have against rearing of goats, we'll get to hear more subsequently. And that's it for tonight's edition of News Night. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good evening.